with you, and when I defang the Viper, trust me, ain't gonna come from nowhere. Jeff, I already put you out. I don't even know why you're out here right now. Keep on talking. Hey, do me a favor. Why don't you act like this is an AA meeting and you shut your mouth while I'm sharing with the group? And Mustafa, you out here, a boy among men. And I'm gonna tell you what, you got lucky at the Rumble, so I know you're gonna come out here and run your mouth about how bad you are. But let me give you a little bit of a reality check. You see, Mustafa, you said that my eyes don't lie. Well, your eyes don't lie either, because last week, they were closed real tight when I put your simple ass to sleep. And AJ, hey man, be honest with me. How's our old girl Wendy doing?
Welcome back to the Clark Street Wrestling Podcast. It's me, Afeez, and with me as always is Devin, and we have a special guest, friend of the show at this point, Joey Cassata, author, musician, and all-around great guy. Joey, how you doing?
Yo, what's up, boys? Thanks for having me back.
Oh, man. It's good to have you back. You can
Awesome
see we made some changes as well. But before it was strictly audio. Now we're with video, got a little background. Made a little updates for you.
You guys are two handsome bastards. You can't hide your faces. I'm behind the audio. What's the matter with you?
Oh man, thank you. Hey, you know, it was a switch. I think I was the one that was kind of dragging that a little bit because doing the whole video thing with the podcast, I was like, man, I don't know if I want to, show my face on there or be, on there like that. Devin's like, oh, let's give it a try. I'm like, sure. And now I'm like, it's just second nature.
Now you're comfortable. It's like night and day.
Now it's like whatever. Like, all right, cool.
And I gotta tell you,
I got the lighting set up.
I do so many interviews too. Even if it's not being shown video wise, doing interviews when you can see facial expressions and you can kind of see when to jump in, when not to jump in. It's so much better to do interviews with video than just audio.
Oh yeah.
Real quick, I'll let you know too. During probably the first year or maybe year and a half of our show, we literally did it without seeing each other. It was just pretty much all strictly audio, just telephone. And that's how we did our podcast. And we were still able to be engaged, but it was times that I couldn't know when to jump in, or he didn't know when he needed to jump in, or I need to cut in, or so I see the benefit of video.
But there was a flow to it.
It was
enough.
It was weird.
It's like we just kind of were able to flow with each other and have like some of the most heated debates on the show happened with no video. It was literally just me talking over Devin or Devin talking over me, and we're going back and forth, and but still having some kind of symmetry to it all. I don't know. It was kind of wild. But let's get to the meat and potatoes of all this, Joey. So update us on what's been going on with you, because there have been some strides, like with the TV show. You've got a new show going on as well, in terms of top 5, I think it is. So tell us about that, man. Update us. Let us know. Let the people know what's been going on.
So a little update with Wrestling with Joey Licious. As you know, since the last time we talked, the shorts are all available on Amazon Prime. You can stream them on Amazon Prime. They're 6-minute shorts. They're literally previews of what the show is going to eventually be. The show is going to be a 30-minute sitcom about me. For your fans that don't remember me from last interview, it's about me as this wannabe wrestler. I'm now in my 40s. I grew up a big wrestling fan. I've been working the indie scene my whole life. Never got a chance to make it, much like the Rocky Balboa story. But the twist is, in my show, these wrestling legends appear to me in my imagination and offer me this terrible advice that puts me into even worse predicaments than when I started. And, I have guys like, Roddy Piper, Mick Foley, the Iron Sheik, Jimmy Snuka, all these guys that we filmed with already. And, because of COVID, of course, the production got shut down, and, we're not able to do much right now. So, I pivoted. I released the Wrestling with Joey Licious book. It's on Amazon. It was a #1 bestseller when it came out. It bumped guys like Jericho and Foley and Jim Ross and the Young Bucks out of the #1 spot. And the book is really what the first season of the show is going to be. There's guys like Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, so many guys. It ends with a big cliffhanger with Chris Jericho as himself in the book, which leads into the second book. If we need it, if we don't get to do production again, we'll pivot and release the second half of the first season. But if production starts up again, which hopefully it does, we'll be filming more episodes. We actually do have a tentative shoot with Jake the Snake coming up in March. So we're hoping, if COVID stays the way it is or maybe gets a little better by then, we'll be able to do that. We'll have that short up for you guys on Amazon Prime shortly after that, and then hopefully full-length episodes to follow.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Fingers crossed, like you said, that you guys get to get right back into production and get it done, because I want to see this. I've seen the shorts. The shorts are hilarious. It's great. Yes. So I definitely want to see you guys just be able to continue this project because it's so awesome. Now, with it was one thing that came to mind just now. You have all these legends in there, and is there a thought to continue it as legends only, or do you want to incorporate modern wrestlers as well? Like, what's the thought process around that?
So without a doubt, we want to incorporate modern wrestlers, and the way the world works of Joey Licious is basically a mental patient. He's crazy. So, he's seeing these legends in his brain and in his mind where no one else sees them. But there will be plenty of times, and, as the book ends and the second book begins, you'll see real wrestlers pop up. Joey's not sure. Are they really there? Are they not really there? Is Chris Jericho himself? Is he in Joey's brain? You'll find out. So as the season progresses, Joey's, symptoms get worse as more wrestlers appear to him. But hopefully and luckily, if you tune in, the breaks start happening for Joey Licious, and some real wrestling opportunities start to arise, and maybe Joey Licious gets a shot at the big gold one day.
That's awesome. And I love the idea of the wrestlers that Joey grew up watching and idolizing are the ones that are in his head, kind of motivating him. Like, there's a connection there that makes sense that, hey, of course it would be legends that he's seeing, that because those are the people that, he grew up idolizing, that you grew up idolizing. So that makes sense. And on the other side, it's like, well, to get the other segment of wrestling fans that, maybe aren't as up, like, this is a great education, I think, for wrestling fans, but also too, like, to connect with wrestling fans with who they're seeing now on TV at some point, finding a way to incorporate that too in the way that you're saying it. Are they real? Are they not? Man, that's awesome. That's intriguing to me. And I love stuff like that, where it's kind of like, now me as a viewer, I'm like, ooh, was that actually happening?
Right.
Did he finally actually interact with a wrestler, right? Real? Yeah. Like, so that's cool.
One of my favorite episodes that we wrote, and it'll be part of the second book and midway through the first season. It has Hulk Hogan in the episode, and obviously it's the imaginary Hulk, of course, and it's about me going to Tampa to go visit Hulk at a signing, and of course I get there and just madness ensues. But what winds up happening is I befriend the real Hulk Hogan. But I almost can't differentiate because the imaginary Hulk has been in my life for so long as a kid. I'm literally in a car driving back to Brooklyn, New York, with the real Hulk by my side, but my imaginary Hulk is in the back seat giving me more advice. So it's literally the name of the episode is Hulk's to the left of me, Hulk's to the right. And it's with some magic, trickery, camera trickery, we're gonna have picture me in a car driving with two Hulk Hogans in the car with me. It's gonna be great.
Where do you find the inspiration for to have like a segment like that? All right, I'm going to be, dealing with the real Hulk Hogan, but now I'm gonna be having an imaginary. Like, where did that inspiration come from?
Yeah.
It's so funny. People ask me that all the time, and I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but as you guys know, I'm a musician too. During one of my Broadway runs, I was literally playing a show on Broadway with a packed house, sold out. Josh Groban is the lead singer. And I swear, and this is God honest truth, I even wrote about it in my autobiography. I wrote this episode during the second act as I'm playing my drums, reading the charts in my brain, because I had played this show 4, 5, 600 times already. I'm kind of on autopilot now. I'm actually writing this episode in my brain as I'm playing this Broadway show, and I literally had to run backstage after, grab my iPhone, and jot it down in my notes because I had this idea of the real Hulk and the imaginary Hulk, and I didn't want to forget it. It's almost like when you wake up from a dream and you in the morning you have to write it down, otherwise you're going to forget it. I had this kind of out-of-body experience as I was playing this show to write this episode. So the inspiration comes from all different angles.
That's true. Because myself, I usually, that happens in the shower. I call that the shower thinking time for me. And usually I can have different scenarios like, oh, this would be a good point I can make, for the podcast, or talk about, this, that can, make my point even stronger. If we need to debate about something, I'm going to debate about against Hafiz. So so definitely understand.
So the Adam Cole and Finn Balor, debate that.
Oh, that was shower thinking time. Yeah.
Was shower thinking
that
time.
Was.
Okay,
that was.
all right, I see. All right, it's all coming together. Cool. Oh man. So talk about top 5. Tell us about that too. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so it's a new podcast I just started. It's called Top 5 with Joey Cassata. It's really just a passion project of mine. It's just for fun. Everyone's locked down in COVID. I don't get to see my buddies very often anymore. I don't get to see my bandmates and my touring mates. So, I decided to throw this podcast together. We don't get to see each other at the bars or at the clubs anymore. So I threw a podcast together just to, discuss topics, pop culture topics or anything we want. I didn't want it to limit to wrestling or music or blah, blah, blah. I wanted a little bit of anything that we could discuss, having my buddies on, having a couple drinks while we're recording, enjoying ourselves, reminiscing, just bullshitting and laughing for an hour or so. So it's called Top 5 with Joey Cassata. I did an episode of our top 5 favorite wrestlers with my son. we did top 5 TV show theme songs. A few weeks ago, we did top 5 alcoholic drinks that we never want to touch our lips because, we have bad memories from. So it ranges from super PG to, R-rated, any topic. No topic is off limits. So you can find that podcast. It's on YouTube. We do a video version too, where we show clips of all the stuff we're talking about. But there's also the plain audio version you can find on Apple Podcast and Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, man, you got a great show.
That's awesome.
That top 5, and I think one of my favorite ones that I saw was the guilty pleasure ones. Top 5 guilty pleasures, like ones and I was like, if I wanted to be honest, I'll say it right here. I'll just admit it. I like Vampire Diaries. You know what I'm saying? The CW show.
Yeah,
I can admit that.
Before.
That in the originals. All right, I can wholeheartedly admit
How about
that.
this? I'll tell you right now. I watched Vampire Diaries like the first few seasons. I was so mad at Elena, I couldn't stand watching her anymore. I argue. My wife and I just had an argument last night about it because we were watching a new show we were watching this show called The Magicians on Sci-Fi.
I need to see that.
The same thing happened to me that happened to me in Vampire Diaries. I love Vampire Diaries so much, but then the Elena character was so annoying after a while. I couldn't take it anymore.
Yes.
Same thing happened to me in this show.
Oh man, it's so true. It just takes that one character where you're just like, you know what? I'm out. I can't do it. I can't do it. But it's amazing. Now, both of the Vampire Diaries. I'm not on it. I've never seen
it's a good
a full episode. I've seen clips, but
I'd say the first 3 to 4 seasons is good. And then they kind of do a spinoff called The Originals, and then that took off. That started becoming my favorite show because of the actor he played called Michael
I never saw
Klaus. That. Yeah. And now I see my daughters, they follow in the same suit. They love Vampire Diaries, but they love the originals too. And then we be talking back and forth, about the episodes. And it's fun though. But it's a guilty pleasure. I'm like, I shouldn't like this. But I do.
That's exactly what Top 5 is about. It's about discussing stuff like that. I mean, one of my favorite shows of all time is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's one of my favorite shows of all time.
That and Angel.
That's
Angel.
That's a classic.
My daughter and I and my wife were rewatching all. My daughter had never seen them before. We're up to season 5 of Buffy right when Angel starts, and we're cross watching One Angel, One Buffy, One Angel, One Buffy. So it's great.
Yeah.
My favorite character out of Angel and Buffy is Spike. I love Spike. I love the
Spike
chemistry
is great.
between Spike
Yeah.
and Buffy, and then when he crossed over towards the end of Angel, the chemistry
Yeah.
to him and Angel, it's like brothers just arguing all the time, but it was funny, and I just
Awesome.
love the cohesion between the two.
I'm a comic book nerd, so Smallville was a big one
me
for
too,
me.
bro, yeah.
You know, which I can't even say it's a guilty pleasure. I know it's pretty popular, but you know, Smallville, I bought the collection of the seasons, like DVD collection.
I have every one of them, dude.
Somebody
Every one of them.
Oh
Save me.
man, I don't know if you saw the last crossover episode that they did for
Flash?
The DC
Yeah,
show.
oh my God, with Tom
Yeah.
Welling in it, of course.
Yes, when he showed
Yes,
up. Oh
man.
my
I
goodness.
marked out like the biggest nerd
Yes.
you've ever seen.
Yes. It was so great. It was so great.
Love it.
Just seeing him again. Like, he got the happy ending. I'm happy with that.
I
That's
still,
cool.
I mean, I
That's
know they
awesome.
have that new Superman and Lois show coming out. God, I wish
do.
Tom
Yeah.
Welling was the Superman in it. I really wish. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't love this new guy. I mean, I didn't see the show yet, but I saw him in Flash and stuff. I didn't love him. I would love to see Tom Welling reprise
He's
that character.
okay, but he's no Tom Welling.
I will say, so here's where I'm at with it. So Tom Welling, I thought that when they announced that they were going to have a Superman finally show up on the show, I said, oh, it's got to be him.
Yeah.
It's got to be him. And then they didn't put him, and this guy, Taylor something, I forget his name, but he's good. He's good. Like, when I saw him on one of the Supergirl episodes and a couple other crossovers, I think he's done a solid job. Now, the new trailer actually has me intrigued because they're shooting it a little bit differently. The look, it's a little bit not darker, but very cinematic.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't feel like all the other CW DC shows. It feels different. Very almost like Man of Steel, which I think, that's one of my favorite DC movies. I think it's kind of underrated in my opinion, but that's neither here nor there. But it feels like that in terms of just the cinematic feel of it. And so I'm interested. They may get me, but I got to give it to Tom Welling. It should have been him. It should have been him, definitely.
I gotta have you guys on top 5. We'll come up with a good. We'll come up with a good topic.
Yes.
We
Yes.
in the pre-show we always talk about either sports, but mostly it's about television, anime, and shows that we currently watching. Cobra Kai.
Any nerd stuff, you
yeah.
can get us on that.
Well,
I'm not on Cobra Kai like that.
I'm a
but
huge
it's-
Cobra
I'm
Kai
starting.
fan.
I started.
I'm again pop culture across the board. I'm a big comic book nerd. I don't know if you guys follow me on social media. I just posted some of my big comics throughout the years. I have every issue of Avengers that was ever released. I just got a $1,000 crazy Star Wars case
saw
built
that.
for all my vintage Star Wars. So I just put out all my vintage toys with my son today. Trust me, I'm right with you guys. When you want to talk this stuff, I'm your man.
So Star Wars over Star Trek.
I'm a big Trek fan too. Trekkie. I love Trek.
See, it's both, Devin. There you go.
Big Trek fan.
Joey.
Love next
Joey.
generation. I mean, no, don't get me wrong.
Oh my God.
Don't get me wrong. I'm a Star Wars man first. Don't get me wrong. It's my first love. But give me Next Generation, one of the best series of all time.
Yes. What's your favorite Star Trek movie?
I mean, of the originals or even anything.
Anything.
I mean, First Contact is incredible.
Yes, I knew he was gonna say that. Yes.
First Contact is incredible. Obviously, you go classic Wrath of Khan, of course, but I mean, I know that the old theory of the odd Star Treks are the garbage ones, but I'm a fan. I enjoy all of it. The Next Generation series, the best of both worlds with Picard as the Borg, was some of the best stuff in TV. Did you watch the new Picard series?
No, I did not. That's on my save list because I saw that. I'm like, ooh, that's something.
Oh, Devin, get on it.
Oh,
man.
I know.
Come on
But
now.
that's.
I've seen The Mandalorian. You got to see that.
I know. I'm not doing my Star Wars
Phenomenal.
Trek fans justice right now.
It's phenomenal. I highly recommend it. You'll love it.
I know I will. But it's good to finally converse with Star Trek with somebody, man.
There you go. But you see, he loves both.
Okay,
He has room in his heart for both.
Yeah.
So, Devin, you can open up your heart to Star Wars and enjoy some Mandalorian.
I tried. I just couldn't.
Dark
I
side.
just couldn't get into
Mandalorian
it.
is Mandalorian is dynamite.
Yes.
It revived,
Yes.
after Last Jedi, which I hated, it revived, my fandom again for Star Wars. But Star Wars and Star Trek, big fan of both. I have every Star Trek toy in the package and opened. Trust me. Nobody's a bigger nerd than me. I don't know if you guys. This is a Magic the Gathering shirt. I don't know if you guys know what that is. That's the card game.
Yeah.
I'm across the board nerd boy, so I'm your man.
See, all around good guy.
Yeah.
Joey Cassata, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man. All right. Well, hey, let's get into some wrestling. Let's get into some Royal Rumble talk and get into some predictions because we got the Royal Rumble coming up this Sunday live on the network. Which, by the way, things are changing. Just not to sidetrack us too much, but WWE, the network, is now going to be what is it a part of now? Is that NBC
Peacock
right?
streaming service? Yep.
Peacock. There we go. So, Devin, I saw you had posted on the Clark Street Wrestling community page about this and like how things could potentially change for WWE in general going forward. Because now what's going to happen is, I think in, what is it? Is it not WrestleMania, but the pay-per-view before WrestleMania? With that one, it's going to start where all of them are now on Peacock. And it's half the price. It's $4.99 instead of the $9.99. The current price of the network.
Well, it's $5 if you want with the ads, and then $10
with ads,
without the
right,
ads.
Right.
Or it's free
So,
if you already have the
I'm still paying
Xfinity,
$10,
cable service.
Right.
So wait. You guys got to school me on this a little bit. So I heard about this whole thing with Peacock and WWE Network. So you're saying the full network is going to be on Peacock?
Yes.
They're shutting down the network. Like the network that, like, as a standalone thing that we're paying for, that is done. It's now on Peacock.
Really?
So the idea is that you would have a Peacock subscription, and it would include the WWE network.
Yeah, because I get Peacock for free because of Xfinity. I don't even need to pay for my network.
Well,
I bought the network the very first day. I can get rid of it finally.
Yeah. Save your $10. That's $120 a year.
Now, hold on. Do I have to cancel, or is it immediately going to stop?
That's what I have to figure it out. So I haven't. I have to figure that out because I didn't know. I'm like, hold on.
I don't trust them.
Right.
I think they would just keep taking your money until you cancel.
You can bet your ass Vince is going to be taking my money until I cancel that credit card.
It's my money now.
Oh man. So Devin, kind of expand on what you were mentioning there. Like, what do you think is going to be, maybe some changes or some things to expect with this shift?
Well, with me, I think it's a great move by WWE because now you have more eyes on your product. Because I was on shout out to the Hard Camera Podcast. I was on their show last night. We were discussing about Royal Rumble, and we talked about the Peacock service. And I was making my point about how this is a awesome thing because WWE, the network, is just in its own space, its own bubble. It's for fans, fans like us. The casual fan, they might get it for 30 days and just let it go. Hey, I tried it for free. I just wanted to watch WrestleMania and that was it. But now you're going to add it to the Peacock for people who want to watch The Office or Saved by the Bell or any other type of streaming service, any movies. But now you're going to see those people like, oh, what's this WWE? Oh, I didn't know they had it on there. You're going to get those type of people now. So I think this is a great move from WWE.
Yeah.
Do we know? Yeah. Was it a purchase? Was it like a 10-year license? Was any idea of the details?
I believe it's $1 billion, a $1 billion deal for WWE. Yeah. So they got paid again. This is their second or third $1 billion deal.
Crazy.
I don't know the numbers of how many times this happened, but it's $1 billion. They flash that everywhere. It's $1 billion. I thought it was for a 10-year deal. I thought I saw that in one of the articles that that's the time span as of right now. But definitely it was sold for $1 billion. Yep. So yeah, that's wild. That's wild.
Love that money.
Vince just say, hey, another $1 billion short. Just go ahead and add it in.
Yeah, but let me tell you, these streaming services, that's what we're looking for with Joey Licious too. They need content, especially now more than ever with COVID. People are not producing content. They need to buy existing content. And who has more content than all that WWE library, right?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So much content.
Yeah.
And they keep pumping out the documentaries. And it's just great. So yeah, I think it's a great deal. I mean, Devin, I think you said it perfectly. I just wanted to give you a chance to kind of talk a little bit more about that. Haven't brought it up on the community page there. So let's get back. We never left the WWE topic. It's just a little bit of a big news that I wanted to bring up on the podcast. But let's go to the matches and let's talk about Royal Rumble that we have coming up again this Sunday. So obviously, the main attraction with the Rumble is the 30-man, 30-women Royal Rumble matches individually. Before we get to those, we're going to talk about these other matches that they have building up into it. There's 3 matches so far official. Now, we still have SmackDown on Friday, so we'll see if anything gets added there. But as of right now, there's 5 matches, which sounds pretty good considering the 2 Rumble matches are going to last a while. So, yeah, that's I think the 3 matches and then the 2 Rumble matches, that makes sense. So as far as the individual matches go, we do have the 2 championship matches. We have Drew McIntyre and Goldberg, and then we have Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens. We also have the women's tag team title match, Asuka Charlotte versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Let's start with that one, because that one I think probably, if we're building up, to, the top thing for this show, this is the one that I'm probably the least excited for, to be honest. And I mean, Devin and I, have been big on, especially recently, talking about the women's divisions and, getting them just more light in AEW and, just kind of highlighting the women's divisions. But this right here is kind of not, I would say, the greatest example for how booking has been for the women's division. I mean, this has just kind of been all over the place. Like, Asuka has this whole thing with Alexa Bliss. Charlotte has this whole thing with her father and with
Lacey Evans.
Oh, man, I keep forgetting. Lacey Evans, thank you so much. Lacey Evans. So there's all these things going on, and then Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, hey, we're still a tag team, and why don't we challenge for those tag team titles again? So I'm not totally feeling this matchup necessarily. The star power is there, but not the story. So, Devin, I'm going to let you kick off the predictions here. Given everything that's going on with this storyline right now, I mean, the last image we had was of Nia Jax getting a pinfall victory in the 6-woman tag match, which was a complete mess of a matchup, too, in the way they booked that. Where are you at with this, and what's your call, man? What do you think is going to happen?
I got Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler winning.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because it's
okay.
To your point, this story has been a mess. Asuka's doing her thing with Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair is with Lacey Evans.
They're distracted,
right? There's no cohesion between Asuka and Charlotte Flair. And then when Charlotte Flair got jumped, Asuka didn't come out. I was like, hold on, is Asuka there? But yeah, she's there. She was back there warming up, getting ready for a match. I'm like, so why are you not coming out for your tag team partner? So I don't see anything beyond for Asuka and Charlotte Flair to do. Like, all right, just separate, have them go do their own thing. That's why I got Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler.
Yeah.
I mean,
man, you know what?
I'm with you. I mean, I feel like the whole Asuka Charlotte thing was, I don't even know what they were thinking to begin with. Why did they throw the titles on them so fast? And it just made no sense to me. The whole storyline it didn't start good, and it hasn't been good yet. So, and the opposite with Baszler and Nia Jax. I love Baszler in NXT. She was so hot, so good. Yeah. Everything she was doing was on fire. And then when she got to WWE, they're just kind of throwing her in the mix. So I think now is the time. Let these 2 be an unstoppable force as a tag team and let them really dominate for a little while. It's the only way you're going to push these 2. There's no reason for Charlotte and Asuka to be together at all.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with both of you. I feel like, Nia and Shayna, they need it more. They need the win more than Asuka and Charlotte. Asuka and Charlotte, them having the tag team championships really makes no sense. I mean, when Lana was there, it was kind of interesting. It was Lana and Asuka. Okay, Lana getting put through 9 tables 9 times, like that just happening. You thought, okay, this is the reason why she's going through all that, is because she's about to become a champion for the first time in her career. Cool. And then it didn't happen, and they replaced her with Charlotte. What? Like, okay, I mean, Charlotte is Charlotte, right? It I get it, but at the same time, like, why are we doing this? And then since then, the story has just been so all over the place. They really don't have a storyline together. They have their separate storylines. So it makes sense logically, just have them lose because they're distracted. They could easily just go with that, like they're not cohesive. Shayna and Nia, they're, at each other's throats, but they accept that. They know, like, hey, when it comes to the Rumble, it's every woman for himself. I might throw you out. Well, I might throw you out.
On the same page.
Like, even though they're on the same page, even if it's against each other, they're still on the same page. So I'm with you guys. I feel like the right move is Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler being the new and two-time women's tag team champions at that, after this matchup. So I think that's where we should go. So shout out to them. Hopefully that happens. All right, moving up the card, let's go with Epic Drew McIntyre versus Goldberg for the WWE Championship. So this match, unfortunately, we didn't get a whole lot of build-up because Drew McIntyre did test positive for COVID, and so he had to go into isolation. So he was off television, but via satellite, he did cut a couple promos. Before that had all happened, he and Goldberg had that brief moment in the ring together where it was a little bit weird, too, because Goldberg, I think there was a disconnect with how the scripted situation was supposed to go, and Goldberg was saying, well, you don't respect any of those. It was Legends Night, and he was saying, you don't respect all those legends on the ramp. You think they're old and washed up and everything, and Drew McIntyre's like, wait, what?
Right.
I didn't say any of that, and literally did not say that. So it was kind of a funny, awkward kind of moment.
I thought I read somewhere that it was supposed to be scripted, that was supposed to happen, and they were running short on time, and they had to let Goldberg come out early. And, he cut the same promo as if McIntyre did just do all that.
Yeah. He went with, okay, they told me I'm going to do this. I'm going to go do it. He didn't ad lib, but that's okay. It's fine. And, in the build-up, like I said, unfortunately, they haven't been able to interact that much. But on this last episode of Raw, they did get in the ring together. The Miz and Morrison were there kind of, letting Drew know, like, hey, I'm cashing in. But Goldberg comes out, and he says, hey, you, me, Sunday, you're next. Done. Mic drop. Like, that was literally all he said. So here we are at the Rumble, WWE Championship. Also to know, Goldberg, this would be the one major title in WWE that he's never held. So that's kind of looming over this whole thing. Another thing is that they mentioned on the telecast that he has a streak going right now where every time he challenges a champion since retiring, every time he's challenged a champion, he's won. Every time. So Drew's up against he's up against history for Goldberg in two ways. Do we think that Goldberg makes history, or do we think Drew breaks Goldberg's new streak? Joey, I'm gonna start it off with you, man. What do you think?
It's so hard to tell because this is an all Vince thing. So I'm a big Goldberg mark. I think, obviously back in the Monday Night Wars, he was unstoppable. He was pure money every time he came out of that locker room. So I'm a big Goldberg fan. I'm the opposite on McIntyre. He does nothing for me. Yeah, he looks like $1 million, but he's just so plain Jane. Nothing about him. There's no electricity in anything to me that he does. He's got a good move set and all that stuff, but I don't see anything that makes me want to watch him do anything. So obviously, my heart tells me I want Goldberg to win, but then I say to myself, well, what the hell booking is going to come after that? I always try to think down the road to Mania, right? So if Goldberg beats McIntyre, who they've been building up for the last over a year now, I don't know where they go. I have a feeling Goldberg is just another stepping stone for McIntyre. I can't imagine Vince puts Goldberg over again. But I would like to see it. I don't think it's going to happen. I got McIntyre in this.
Devin, what you got, man? What are you thinking?
I'm sticking with the original scenario I went on the podcast.
These two predictions could be more opposite. I'll just tell you that right now.
Squash so by funny. Drew.
Go ahead, yeah. Tell in detail what you think is going to happen.
They building this up. Like you mentioned, they mentioned the streak now. I'm like, oh, they're setting this up real good for the swerve. I see the squash happen. Yeah. This reminds me of when Goldberg came back to face Brock for Survivor Series, and we thought it was going to be like a 10, maybe 12-minute match. But that shit went like a squash match for for Brock, and everybody was shocked. Even I was shocked. You know, I was like, holy shit, okay, I'm with that. And I
didn't expect that at all.
And I think WWE or Vince, I think he might pull that same move again for Drew.
Oh man. Yeah, this is tough because, you know, with everything, the way that they're building this, you know, it feels like traditionally Goldberg would win this match. You know, I just feel like there's just so much. He's getting up there. He's only going to have so many other moments like this where he could achieve history. This is the one belt that he hasn't had yet. I feel like at some point in his career, if not Sunday, it's going to happen. But I don't know. There's something about too with where my prediction for Royal Rumble's going and with the way I'm seeing that I feel like it's more likely that Drew wins the matchup. Just because of some other things going on, which we'll get into that when we talk about the Royal Rumble. But I just feel like when I think about WrestleMania, like you were saying, Joey, when I forecast forward to WrestleMania, and I'm trying to think, okay, what's going to happen? Now, we did see this last year where Goldberg beat The Fiend, and I didn't think that there was any plan for Goldberg at WrestleMania then, too. And he beat The Fiend, and then he was supposed to fight Roman Reigns. So, you know, as I'm saying, well, I see more of a plan for Drew than I do Goldberg at WrestleMania. Then I think back and I'm like, oh man, but it happened last year. Like we saw this. But I'm just my gut is telling me Drew McIntyre is going to win this. And it's kind of a makeup for last year that I think he's going to go all the way to WrestleMania and he's going to have at least the moment at Mania, the entrance at Mania, with some semblance of a crowd, because it sounds like more and more that there will be some sort of crowd at Mania now. So with that, I just feel like, oh man, this is that opportunity to say, hey, not to redo all the matches from last year, but to give Drew that moment at Mania. So yeah, I'm thinking Drew, but I will not be shocked if Goldberg beats Drew McIntyre. I won't, man, because this feels like I said, a classic Vince, like, hey, Goldberg, I was telling you this last time, Devin, I think Vince sees Goldberg as he was before, not as this older guy that maybe he's kind of, you know, on his way out and he can't quite, you know, wrestle the way he did. No, I think Vince sees it as Goldberg is still that dude. He's still the guy that's snorting the steam on the entrance, screaming, "You're next," and just destroying people. And he can come back on a moment's notice and still do it. Do I believe that? It remains to be seen, because the match with Undertaker scared me a little bit, to be honest. Yeah. But, you know, I truly feel that Vince, he wishes he had that prime Goldberg in WWE right now.
I think it all comes down to, does Vince still believe anything in Drew? If he believes in Drew, I love the prediction, Devin, of a squash Drew match. But if you know, Goldberg could even be used as Vince's cleaner. If he's done with Drew, he could have Goldberg come out of the locker room and just squash him and say, "Drew, you had your run. You didn't draw any ratings. Get the hell out of here." You're basically like his punishment. You know what I mean?
Savage. I love it. I love how savage that is. Goldberg as Drew's cleaner. Like, all right.
All right, hold on.
Take him out, Bill. Take him out.
All right. If Goldberg wins, Drew versus Goldberg at WrestleMania, does that put people in seats?
Nah. For what?
No, if Goldberg wins, I don't know that Drew main events Mania. I think it's Goldberg and somebody else. You know, I think they do something else. If Goldberg wins, I don't know. Because we already did this where Drew lost to Randy and then got it right back. So
it was only 2 weeks, and that just kind of showed me that Vince believes in Drew.
That's that.
So I think so
I'm more side with you on that I believe that Vince does love Drew, because this run he's been on, he's had so much time, and I hear you, Joey, on your opinion on, like, he doesn't do anything for you, and that's definitely valid. I think from a Vince standpoint, he loves him some Drew McIntyre. Me personally, I actually do love Drew McIntyre. I think that the whole Scottish thing with the kilt and the sword now and him going out there looking like $1 million, like that does do something for me. So I really enjoy Drew McIntyre, but I can respect your opinion and we can agree to disagree on that. But having said all that, if this is going to tell us truthfully what Vince McMahon thinks of Drew McIntyre. If he thinks, hey, he's the face of my company, he's going to go out there, he's going to beat Bill Goldberg. If he thinks, you know what, it was nice, it was fun while it lasted, but we need to try to change this up a little bit, then, well, Goldberg takes him out, and, yeah, I don't think Drew main events Mania. I don't see that. Because it's just the same thing all over again.
You're not building the star. If you want Drew to be that star, have him squash. Have him squash Goldberg. He has to squash him.
And I agree.
Yeah,
that
you know, Vince.
It will tell us if he believes.
You know, Vince wants to do that, but he'll give up on someone quick too. So if Vince has had it with Drew, which in my opinion, I hope he has had it with him, but if he hasn't had enough of him, then you're right. You got to push him to the nines. Use Goldberg as the stepping stone, and shine up that Drew McIntyre. That little coin of his. So, but if not, then the opposite. You bring Goldberg out. Get out of here, Drew. Go squash him. Get him out of here. He didn't do what I wanted him to do. We'll see. I think we're gonna know quick.
We're gonna know.
Yeah,
we are gonna know quick. Look, it's like Braun Strowman, right? Like Braun Strowman lost the belt and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
It didn't work. And now where is he? Like there's no Braun main eventing Mania or anything like that. It's not going to happen. It's not in the cards for him anymore. He's going to need time to try to rebuild himself, repackage himself somehow, some way, but it's just not going to happen. And and Vince gave him a shot as the replacement for Roman Reigns, but he gave him a shot. So we'll see, man. I mean, I think that I'm more side with you, Devin, that I think Drew is going to win this matchup. I don't know about a squash, but I think it'll be somewhat, in terms of timing, it'll be like what we saw with like Brock and Drew, where there's like, Brock did his F5 a couple times. Drew kicked out. He kicked out. I could see it being more like that, and then Drew ended up getting the victory with the Claymore. But hey, man, like I said, I would not be shocked if Goldberg wins this match, man. It's gonna be. I'm going to be on the edge of my seat just from a standpoint of I am hoping that Drew wins this matchup, man. I'm with you, Devin. I'm with you. But Joey here, man, he's scaring me a little bit.
I think either way, the three of us can agree this match is not going more than 6 minutes either way. Goldberg is
right. This is a limited match. So, this is a limited match.
100%.
All right, so I got to ask this question to you guys now. So does Miz cash in? Or does he attempt to cash in?
Yeah. I mean, I've already told you, I think no, because to me, he loses if he cashes in on any of these guys. Yeah. Right now, one of these two guys is going to look really strong, having beat the other guy. So to cash in, look, they tried to sell it a little bit with Sheamus on Raw, having them have the handicap match and, being able to take Sheamus on 2-on-1. But Sheamus ain't Drew and Sheamus ain't Goldberg. Like, it's just, it's not the same thing. Even in a matchup, they've gone back and forth for 6 minutes or less, I would still say there's no way. If Miz is looking up at Goldberg and he just beat Drew McIntyre, he's not going to be like, oh, yeah, now it's my turn. Right. I'm next. No. You wait. You better wait, bide your time, and be more strategic than that. And if it's Drew, I just think the same, because that means that Vince believes, and I just can't see it there. Maybe on a Raw, maybe at Elimination Chamber, but with the two of them, and they may work together. If Miz comes down and tries to cash in, let's say Drew beat Goldberg, and he tries to cash in, Goldberg might spear Miz again. Right. Just be like, no, man. Like, I'm not letting you do Drew like that. They may have a respect for each other after this matchup. So I don't see it, but I don't know. So you still think that it could happen?
No, I'm just putting that out there. I think he will actually cash in at WrestleMania.
Oh, okay. All right. Joey, what do you think in terms of the cash in?
Yeah, I mean, to me, the only way to cash in works is, again, I try to think of along the lines of a booker, not a fan. So the cash in only works if, obviously, you got to take the belt off of Drew and Goldberg. You don't want either one of them to have it. Yeah. Then you have them as an undercard rematch at a Mania. to settle that score, whatever it was going to be. And then the belt just becomes its own entity, a brand new storyline. I don't know exactly where they would go with it, but that would be the only logical way, is to have Miz cash in and win, would be to knock Drew and Goldberg down on the card at a Mania, have that rematch, and then have a totally different WWE title picture, which could happen.
Yeah, you know what? When you say it like that, to have them still be at Mania but do the rematch, like we don't get the conclusion of this match at Rumble and then carry this on to Mania, man. Like
you don't need the title. You don't need the title to have that be a good match.
Yeah, that match doesn't need the title. That's true, 100%. Yeah, wow. Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. Like I'm not even like excited about that matchup necessarily, but again, this is one of those things. Whenever we get on this podcast and we're talking about it, it brings up a whole new element, and I'm like, ooh, now I am curious what's gonna happen. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this matchup now. I gotta admit. All right, so the final championship matchup, final non-Rumble matchup that we have on the card for this Rumble, it is the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. Never say die, Kevin Owens, in a last man standing match for the WWE Universal Championship. So, Joey, I don't know if you've been, keeping up with how we've been going back and forth on this, but Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, and Devin has the merch to prove it, like head of the table. He's got it back there. He's all about Roman Reigns. I know where Devin's head is. I know where his heart is. I know he's going with Roman Reigns. For me, I went from, 35%, I think is what you had said you gave Kevin Owens, Devin. I went from that to 50% just off of the last week.
That's it. That was my reaction, Joey. That was my exact reaction right there.
Yeah.
Well,
wow.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. The reason why is because with the way that they've dealt with the whole Kevin Owens situation. First of all, I was surprised that they even brought Kevin Owens back for another matchup with Roman Reigns after having 2 failed attempts at the title already. But in the way that those matches went, the ladder match and the cage match, in both scenarios, Kevin Owens made me a believer. Like in that ladder match, I mean, Devin, you even admitted, you thought at moments when he was holding that belt that he was actually going to pull it down and be champion.
He had his fingertips. I was like, ooh.
And the story, the way they keep telling this story, it's from Kevin Owens' perspective. It's he's fighting for something even deeper now than just the championship. He's brought in his family and telling the story of his 2 grandfathers from his father and his mother's side, and showed his knuckles and the tattoos, and to say that this represents them. And he talked about how they fought through diseases and still, fought through them so hard that he was able to get more years with them because of the fight that they showed. And because of that, how can I not continue to fight on? How can I not, just keep going? What excuse do I have not to fight? Which leads perfectly into Last Man Standing, because now he has it in my head like, oh, if that count is going, 5, 6, and he's trying to stand up, it's more than just I want to be champion. It's I'm fighting for them now. I'm fighting for my family. And, hearing that, I was just like, oh, man, Kevin, you're doing a great job of selling me on this, man. He's doing a heck of a job. For me, and, it's so wonderful having you on the show, because you brought up something in talking about all these matches, is think about it as a booker and not as a fan, right? So as a booker looking forward to WrestleMania, there's a couple ways we can look at this, right? So if take out what I just said, I'm saying, oh, there's no way in hell Roman Reigns is not going to be at WrestleMania on the run that he's on. If you take out the Kevin Owens story and how they're trying to just sell us on the fact that he has a chance, Roman Reigns at Mania makes so much sense, and he is money right now. So why now? But what if we get The Rock? Does The Rock and Roman Reigns need to be for the championship? It doesn't. That's a storyline right there that you could just have those two fight it out. Who's the true head of the table? If something like that were able to happen. Or, I don't know, maybe they revisit the whole thing with Jay. Jimmy still hasn't showed up. maybe there's something there, and then it goes back to a family feud with Jay. Who knows? So there's a lot of different scenarios. And for Kevin, it's like, man, he got screwed on his road to WrestleMania by it was Goldberg that took the belt from him right before WrestleMania, and he couldn't main event. He ended up going against Jericho, I think it was that year, which was still, great for him. Overall, man, I just think that this matchup right here, I am 50-50. It's basically a coin flip for me. I think as the booker in me says Roman Reigns is still going to main event WrestleMania. But I will not be shocked if Kevin Owens is champion at the end of this and just throws a monkey wrench in all those WrestleMania plans, because he has sold me emotionally and in every way. But I think the pick is Roman Reigns. It's just, I just can't bring myself to say Roman Reigns will not main event WrestleMania. It just seems like this is his year to get back there and do it. So yeah, man, Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think a 50% chance for Kevin Owens right now is absolute insanity. I think like much like you said before,
Yes.
talking about it, believe it or not, you opened up a couple little questions to me talking about it. So my only thing is, maybe you're right. Maybe, of course, it on paper it looks like a throwaway match. It looks like, of course, Roman is on his road. It's the best thing he's done ever. It's the best thing in WWE for the last year. Of course, it's got to go and headline Mania. But as you know, in the past, the title doesn't headline Mania always anymore. So that's not a given. That's just because he doesn't have the title, he's not headlining Mania. And not to give away my Rumble picks, but stuff you mentioned with The Rock too. So the only other scenarios that could work, Kevin Owens is not beating Roman Reigns clean for the belt, and that's it. That's not happening. There's two scenarios to me that I see happening, and this kind of gives away my Rumble pick, but I'll bring it up here before you guys give it away too. So you have two scenarios. You mentioned one, which is The Rock. Now, I'm not sure if The Rock is going to be at this one, because do they save a Rock Roman for next Mania?
They were talking about next year, actually, for that.
Right, with a full crowd, so I would love it to happen this Mania, and maybe they, depending on Rock's schedule, maybe they do go that route, or do they do Brock is mad, at Paul Heyman for taking on another guy, and Brock they turn Brock babyface, and he comes out, he costs Roman the title, and Brock and Roman fight again at Mania, but it doesn't have to be for the title. Now, I think all of that is ridiculous. I don't think Roman's going to lose, but pivoting, I think those two situations, to me, are the Rumble situations. I think Kevin Owens is going to lose. He's going to get bumped down the card, maybe against one of the Usos at Mania, blah, blah, blah. They're going to cost him the title. But I think the real storyline is either Roman Brock at Mania or Roman Rock at Mania. And I'm hoping either Rock or Brock win the Royal Rumble, and it sets up, that dream at Mania.
The Brock one, I'm mad I didn't even think of that, because that would just, I could see that happening.
Yes, but
you imagine if Brock Lesnar showed up at a Royal Rumble and cost Roman Reigns the title, and that's the reason why.
He's a clear babyface too. Brock as a pure babyface against the tribal chief because of what Heyman's doing. The crowd will. Let me tell you something. The crowd wanted to cheer Lesnar for years. And now, if they give them that opportunity, Lesnar will skyrocket as the top babyface against Roman.
Oh, man.
Ooh, you make me want to pick Kevin Owens. I kind of want to pick Kevin Owens because I think that's going to happen. Oh, my God.
I'm
man.
going to
Devin,
stick with my pick. I got faith in the tribal chief.
I already know.
You know what? I don't see any scenario of Tribal Chief losing, because he makes it a point that Universal title, that's how his family eats. You know what I'm saying? That's part of the story. It's not, of like, okay, I hear what you're saying, Joey, about, they don't need the title to make a match, but for Roman and Tribal Chief, that title is like part of the story now, and the whole island of relevancy too. That's why I don't even see Brock coming. That would be the money match. I'm not like disagreeing it.
Oh my god,
that would be a stupid money match. But I'm thinking about what he's been saying on his build. The Universal title is how I'm head of the table, island of relevancy, and I know probably skipping ahead, but I don't see Brock, but I do see Daniel Bryan being next man up. He's been having this he haven't had any type of momentum going into the Royal Rumble. Pretty much, I want to say I could pick him out as the singular wrestler not having any momentum going into the Royal Rumble. Like AJ Styles has been good, Shinsuke, Cesaro, all been on this getting these wins headed into the Royal Rumble. Even Big E's looking good too, except for DB, except for Daniel Bryan. That's why I got Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns being for WrestleMania.
Wow.
I just think, I think the thing you said about him having all those losses and not having momentum, I think the lack of wins is actually the momentum. Like, smart wrestling fans know that's the setup. Like he said, hey, I don't have many, of these left. I've never won a Royal Rumble, and then he loses against everybody else that wants to be in the Rumble, that wants to be champion. It's like, all right, you guys, you're not just doing this to him to just have him just get tossed out like nobody at the Rumble. Like, he's at least going to have a great showing. So I feel like, from a smart wrestling fan perspective, we see what they're doing. Now, is it going to happen? I mean, Monday Night Raw kind of messed me up a little bit because I wasn't expecting Edge to return, so I'm gonna just kind of toss that out there a little bit. That kind of messed me up a little bit, but I do have some theories there. But man, I think, gosh, if going back to Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns, if I could actually see the matchup for Kevin Owens as champion at Mania, like what that could potentially be, I would pick Kevin Owens. Like, I actually would pick Kevin Owens, but I don't clearly see the story for Kevin Owens at Mania. I see it for Roman, but I don't see it for Kevin. So that's where I'm kind of stuck. Like, everything, Joey, you said about Brock, or Rock, like, it makes sense, to say, hey, they could, or specifically Brock, that he would cost Roman that championship in that matchup. But then it's like, where do we go from here? And that for Kevin,
we're talking in circles. We know as well as everyone else out there. 50%. No, there's no chance. 50%. There's no chance Kevin Owens is winning this match. I don't care. Anyone want to put money on it? Call me up. Send me emails. I will take your bet. Roman is going to win. There's no way Kevin Owens is winning this match. Come on. There's no way.
It's ridiculous. Guaranteed.
I give him under a 3% chance.
Under 3? Whoa. Whoa.
Oh, man.
Joey. KO Mania might happen. KO Mania, let's go.
Listen, I love Kevin Owens. And what you said before, Dusty used to say, go out there and sell that match on your interview. And that's what Kevin's doing.
Oh, my God.
He's phenomenal at what he does. But the problem is, there's no scenario after it. Like you said, there's no scenario where Roman, on this climb, loses to a Kevin Owens, and then Kevin Owens has a Mania main event match or title match. It's just not going to happen.
If he does, we're going to have to bring you back and talk about this.
100%.
We're going to bring you back and talk about this. Like, what happened? KO won. He won.
Oh, so you want to gloat. You want to bring Joey on so you can gloat. I know.
The only way it happens...
50%.
The only way it happens is like at the end of Rocky 2 when both of them fall to the ground by accident unconscious and KO falls on top of Reigns.
He falls
only
on
chance.
Oh, man, I love it. Well, we'll see, man. Again, and now this one I really was anticipating, but oh, man, I feel like I'm invested a little bit more now. I don't have it in me to pick him, but I'm giving him 50%. Joey says less than 3%. Guaranteed. All right, let's move on to the two Royal Rumble matches, the men and the women's, both 30 participants in both. Now, they haven't announced the full list, but just to give you an idea, we'll go through the women's first. So with the women's, we have competitors like Nia Jax, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, Bayley, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, Peyton Royce, Alexa Bliss, Shayna Baszler, Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, Tamina, and of course, as always, they don't have these listed on the page that I'm looking at here, but you may see some legends show up. You may get the Litas, the Trish Stratuses of the world to show up. Some NXT, Molly Holly could potentially show up. Maybe some NXT participants could be in there as well. So with all of that said, let's start this off and go through what we predict. Maybe if there's some surprises you see as far as some people that could just show up, make a debut, and ultimately who we think is going to win. So Devin, I'm going to kick it off with you. How do you see the Women's Rumble playing out? Any surprises? Who do you think ends up winning?
Well, like I said, I was on a podcast last night, so big shout out again to Hard Camera, Jove and Big Ren, and we was breaking it down, and I don't know how I forgot about this, but I forgot about, the big surprise who can show up will be obviously Becky. I can see that as a potential surprise, coming in. Everybody know that she had the baby. You see the pictures posted up all over the social platforms. So maybe she's ready to come, and I can see that as a possible surprise entry. But when it comes down to the meat and potatoes of it, though, when we're going to get down to, to the final, I can see Charlotte Flair being in there in the mix, Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Shayna Baszler. And out of that group, I actually have Alexa Bliss winning.
Oh, wow. Okay. Nice. So we'll get more in detail with it afterwards. But Joey, what's your pick?
Yeah, so I felt the same way. I think Becky, if she's ready to come back, to me, Becky doesn't come back and not win it. I think if Becky comes back, she's got to win it and go to Mania, right? But it's super early. I did see some footage of her online the other day working out. She looks pretty good, pretty in shape. It's still very early. But if they do pull the Becky trigger, which would be a great time to set up Mania, right? I could see Becky as a surprise entrance and winning. But I don't think they're going to go this route, but I would love to see someone like Trish win and set up a Trish-Sasha match at Mania. Oh, my God, I would love to see Trish against Sasha at a big time event. I heard rumors of it back maybe a year or so ago that they wanted it to happen, but it just fell through. I would love something like that to happen, and I'll throw out a bold prediction that maybe something like that could happen. I don't think it will, but I'd love to see. That's what I would want to see. I don't think they're going to do a Baszler thing. I don't even think they're going to do nothing with Charlotte or even Alexa Bliss. I just don't know if they're going to go that route. It feels like it's maybe been done a little bit. So I think they're either going to go Becky's going to come out, they're going to go surprise like a Trish, or maybe they're going to really finally push Bianca all the way.
Yeah, that's a great call with that last one, especially with Bianca. I saw her Chronicle episode, and at the tail end of it, she talks about that. Like, this time, it's not good enough to have 9 eliminations or 10 eliminations,
right? Or
have so many minutes in there, longer than she had last time. This time, it's like she has to win it. Like, that's what she's going for, and I love that about how she sold that. Now I'm not picking her to win it necessarily, but I'm sentimentally rooting for her, just because, again, seeing her story and seeing how she's been used on SmackDown, like, it was kind of lukewarm at first, and then, I think it's picked up with the Bayley storyline so far. My pick, and I think I've said this on the show already a couple times, but my surprise pick, to show up at the Rumble has been Rhea Ripley, from the beginning. And I feel like since last year, I was thinking, Rhea Ripley is going to be back here, and she's going to be fighting for the title. So, I'm just going to cut straight to it that I believe it's going to be Rhea Ripley that ends up winning this match, going to WrestleMania. Now, who she's going to fight at WrestleMania, that's a little tricky because, they have Charlotte kind of mixed up in this whole storyline now. It's a little bit of a mess of a storyline. But I'm still not convinced that she's not somehow, some way going to end up with the Raw Women's Championship and then go to WrestleMania. I'm not convinced. I feel like it's going to happen that Asuka's going to get screwed again and Charlotte will be champion, and it'll be Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley at Mania for the WWE Raw Women's Championship instead of the NXT Women's Championship like it was last year. As far as surprises go, man, that Trish Stratus one that you said, that would be a dream match of dream matches to see them at Mania fighting over that SmackDown Women's title. Like, Trish Stratus, as far as Attitude Era wrestlers goes, it was Trish Stratus and Lita for me. And now, current wrestlers, my favorite is Sasha Banks.
Too.
To see those two go at it, oh my God, my head would explode. It would just be insane. Like, it would just once in a lifetime, never before, never again kind of matchup that I would love to see. So I am rooting for that one now too, because that would be amazing somehow, some way. But yeah, for me, and Becky Lynch. Now I agree with you too. I don't think Becky Lynch is going to be there. Because if I really thought she was going to be there, I would pick Becky. Because I'm with you. I don't think she shows up and doesn't win. I don't think she shows up and someone just tosses her out. Like that, I have a hard time believing that. And if she, after giving birth, being a mom, she's not the mom now. Like I just think she shows up, she wins. But I don't think she shows up here at the Rumble. But hey, man, if she does, I think she's winning. I think she's just going to go ahead and win the whole damn thing. But my pick is Rhea Ripley. So there we have it. So, and Devin, you said again, yours was
I got Alexa Bliss.
Yep. Alexa Bliss.
You,
okay.
You don't think Bianca Belair? Like that would be my second pick if I was to pick one. Like Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. Yeah. Because that's a money match to me for WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Trish is my fantasy pick. I would want that to happen, but I think they're going to go Bianca. I actually totally forgot about Rhea Ripley. I think that's a great pick too. I do also think, again, I always think one step ahead, two steps ahead. There's no way Asuka's the champ at WrestleMania. Asuka, she's had her time. She's awful on the mic, as we all know. She can't do anything. Her overacting is terrible. She does some good stuff in the ring, but I've had just about enough of Asuka. It's time to move off of her. There's no way she.
Bold takes. I love it.
There's no way she. I do. I think Charlotte's going to get that from her. They're going to lose the tag team titles this week. It's going to cost something. Yeah. Charlotte's going to fight her. She'll take the title up for her, and then whatever this is set up with the Rumble, maybe it's Bianca Charlotte or even Bianca or Rhea Charlotte or Bianca Sasha.
Yeah, and for me, like I mean. For Asuka, when it comes to her, like I love seeing Asuka. I think that she, in her own way, with the easy peasy dance and just like going out there and just having all that energy, that I think that there's been in the beginning of the pandemic era of wrestling, she was one of those bright, entertaining parts of the show. Now, as far as the championship run, I feel like it's been a failed run overall. I feel like the run just has not lived up to any expectations. It's just. Sometimes I forget, honestly. Sometimes I forget she's champion.
Or even double champion.
I just had to look it up to make sure. I said, is Asuka still champion? I just had to look it up.
It's just, and that sucks. But it's just the way her title reign is gone. Like, her being champion, her being a double champ feels like the emptiest double championship reign of all of the double championship reigns we've had in the women's division recently. Yeah, it's just like, man. And Asuka and NXT was dominant, undefeated, booked the right way, did a great job. In WWE, it's been a roller coaster ride, and I think right now, get the belt off of her, go ahead and give it to Charlotte, because then you set up, for me, the Charlotte Rhea Ripley match for the WWE Raw Women's Championship. I love the Bianca Belair pick too. The Alexa Bliss pick, I love that as well. I don't know, man. Like her at Mania. So what's the match at Mania for Alexa Bliss if that's the one you're going with?
You guys got good reasons for not having Asuka to beat at Mania, but I got Asuka at Mania because I don't see any. I don't see Charlotte and Asuka actually falling apart because they're going to be dealing with interference from Lacey Evans. I think they're going to get that's how they're going to pull off the titles, Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, because of Lacey Evans. I think it's time to separate and put Charlotte she's going to take a break from the title scene. She's going to be building up Lacey Evans. I see this. It's working because I'm intrigued by this story between Lacey Evans and Charlotte. So I think she's going to take a break, and that's why I got Asuka is going to be, hopefully, she remained champion until WrestleMania for Alexa Bliss, because just the way Monday Night Raw ended too.
All I ask is, and I know it's not going to happen. They're going to do the same shit they do to me every year. All I ask is no three ways for the titles at Mania, please. Even you're so right with Lacey Evans. They're building up that story, whether it's for the title or not for a title. They're building it up, but I can see, now that we're talking about it, I can almost look into Vince's, old eyes and say, oh no, I know what he's going to do. He's going to do Rhea versus Charlotte and throw Lacey Evans in the mix, and it's a three-way, and it just ruins all of it. It cheapens everything.
He needs all the blondes in there. All of them. Just all in one big match.
Put them in there. Put it in there.
You're totally right, man. Oh, and you speaking it out now, I'm like, oh man, it's actually gonna happen.
We just booked Mania and we hate it. That's the worst part about it.
And we hate it.
Yes,
exactly.
You know what? That's a good title for this episode.
So true.
We just made it. We hate it. I'll write that down. That's perfect.
Oh, man. Well, speaking of booking Mania, let's go through the last Royal Rumble matchup that we're going to talk about here, the second and the last Royal Rumble matchup. So this one, the men's 30-man Royal Rumble, will feature names such as Daniel Bryan, Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, apparently Otis, The Miz, Jey Uso, Cesaro, Jeff Hardy, Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, Shinsuke Nakamura, Big E, John Morrison, Sheamus, Mustafa Ali, and Edge, as announced on Monday Night Raw. And they don't have, well, I guess the only member of the Hurt Business they put here is Bobby Lashley, but I'm sure we'll get Shelton and Cedric and maybe even MVP in this matchup as well, and their dynamic kind of exploding in this match as well. I could see some other people getting in there. There's a couple of options here, but, this matchup here, Edge, like I said, I alluded to it. When Edge showed up, it kind of made me say, "Oh shit, he just messed up my pick," because I was set. I already knew who I was gonna pick. So let me go through this a little bit. Surprises, I don't see like any huge surprises necessarily in this matchup. Returning, like they might throw in a name. I mean, Brock Lesnar would be a huge one, if not going against Roman. If Brock Lesnar shows up in this, oh my God. And hell, if he shows up, I think he wins. Like, honestly, I think he wins the matchup.
Has to, right. Agreed.
I think he has to win. Keith Lee isn't on this list either. I think that he's going to be in the Rumble. I don't think there's any way he's not in the Rumble. And he's probably going to be one of the final three or four people.
Not to go off subject, how the hell did they blow Keith Lee? What the hell happened? I mean, to me, it's oh my God, a no-brainer. Brock and Lee at, Mania a couple years ago. They just completely, if you don't mind me cursing, shit the bed.
No, go ahead, man.
It's unbelievable.
They did. Oh, yeah, and please feel free to speak your mind. Nothing's off. All the profanity, everything.
He has everything we want. In NXT, he was everything we wanted. Shooting for the sky and just nothing.
Preach. Yeah, no, 100%. I don't understand it. It started when he made his debut, and they changed his music and they changed his look. I was like, shit. Here we go. Here we go. They're just already tinkering with him and telling him, "Oh, you have to cover up your belly."
They might as well have put him in the dusty polka dots.
Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? Just, what are we doing? The man was already over. You saw it at the Royal Rumble. You saw it at Survivor Series. The face-off that he had with Roman Reigns. It was electric. The crowd ate it up. How are you tinkering with that? Just let the man go out there and do his work. It just makes no sense.
Vince
no
likes
sense,
to put
but
his thumbprint on it, even when he doesn't need to, but he got to do it. I got to change up his music. I have to ground him now. I don't want him flopping over there. You're a big man. You're not a cruiserweight. You know what I'm saying? I could see him doing that. So
listen,
he was just super over. He was super over NXT, basking his glory. Just, oh man.
So yeah, man. I mean, with the potential Keith Lee in there, Brock Lesnar is a surprise for me. You know, I said it earlier. I feel like the way that they keep trying to sell us that Daniel Bryan is basically done, that he keeps losing, and this is his last chance, it kind of puts Daniel Bryan in that light to be the guy that wins it. You know, and as far as WrestleMania, the guy to face Roman Reigns potentially. Like, he even said it on Talking Smack. Like, I know he can fight, but I know I'm a better wrestler than him, Paul. And they had a back and forth exchange that kind of had me going, I could see this. I could see this because Daniel, it's feeling like this is his last go. Like, after this, he's going to be behind the scenes and he's going to be just, you know, booking and helping the talent, young talent, kind of developing people now. So this legitimately feels like, all right, this is the swan song. And he mentioned it. The one thing he's never done in WWE was win the Royal Rumble. Now with Edge is coming back saying, hey, you know, I win. I did the return last year and that was cool. But the last time that when I had to retire the first time, I was champion at WrestleMania. And I never lost that belt. So I'm going to win the Royal Rumble to claim what I never lost. And I'm like, Edge, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why are you mentioning this? Could you just... Oh, my God, he got me. He got me. So those two are at the top of my mind when it comes to who could potentially do this. And my thought process now is, I think Daniel Bryan wins. I think Daniel Bryan still wins the Rumble. And I think that sets Edge on a path to become the rated R superstar and to turn heel on his run now and be the guy who goes against Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. That's what I think. That's why I'm picking Drew to come out victorious against Goldberg, because I think you have Drew and Edge be one of the main events of WrestleMania. And who wins that, I have no idea right now. But I just feel like, you know, Edge versus Roman, I could see it, but I don't know. I'm not that excited about that. But something about Drew and Edge being a heel. Like, I think Drew needs some strong heel to go against. And he went against Randy, and it could have been great, but it didn't hit. But Edge, though, rated R superstar, let's give that one a go. And there's something about that, the similar look, you know, with the long hair and the just like, there's something about their two presences in the ring together that I just want to see it happen. So I feel like, you know, I think Edge gets there, but as a heel, kind of being the ultimate opportunist again and finding a way to maneuver himself into that match with Drew. And maybe your guy Miz, Devin, cashes in on Edge and becomes champion by beating
the ultimate
Edge.
Opportunist.
Because you know Edge isn't going to be around.
Yeah.
On the ultimate opportunist, beating him at his own game. I could see that happening. So that's how my mind is going right now is if, you know, I'm not sure like Edge or... Actually, yeah, I think I just said it. Edge potentially beating Drew McIntyre, but then Miz beating Edge at WrestleMania. Wow, like that would be something for sure. So, but my pick is Daniel Bryan. I think Daniel Bryan wins the Royal Rumble with all that said.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I wasn't as tainted as I am. I mean, you sound every time someone gives an interview, you sound like they convinced you they're the man. I wish I had that in me. I've been disappointed for so many years. I don't have it in me anymore. I don't believe that, you know, all these pushes are never going to happen. I love those ideas. I love the idea of Daniel Bryan. But again, I'm trying to look forward. Daniel Bryan, if he wins the Rumble, he's got to go all the way. And then if Roman beats him, what was the point? You're thinking Roman's going to win anyway, so it's almost like defeats the purpose. Now that you guys are discussing it, my ultimate would be Brock coming out as a face, cleaning house, and starting that feud with Roman because of Heyman and blah blah blah. I think that's the ultimate situation. But the more I hear you guys talk, I think I realize, and of course, Rock is another situation. I would love Dream is Rock coming out too, but
he showed up, it's over.
Rock and Brock don't need the Rumble. They don't need the Rumble. You could do the same storyline with either one of them with Roman, which I think it's got to be one of those guys with Roman at Mania. Whether they're gonna go all the full-fledged tribal chief with Rock, that whole war, the family war, or they're going to go the inner family war with Heyman's guys with Brock. One of them has to be this year, and then one of them has to be next year. So I think they're setting up 2 years in advance with those two. So I do think the winner of the Rumble has got to go for the other title. Now, if that's Drew still, or if they take it off Drew, like we said with Goldberg, or even Goldberg wins and then maybe, Miz cashes in on it, whatever happens, I think the winner of the Rumble, the only storyline path for them has to be the Drew path, because the winner of the Rumble does a Brock and Rock type thing. They don't need the Rumble to, start that fire. They could start it the next night on Raw and be totally the perfect storyline. They don't need the Rumble rub, whereas anyone that's going to go the Drew route needs that Rumble rub.
Oh, man. Right. Well, I'm going to stick with my original pick. I got DB, Daniel Bryan. I have him winning in the Royal Rumble, going on to face the Tribal Chief for WrestleMania. So I hear what you're saying, Joey. But I got to play this in my head, too, because this WrestleMania is different because we're not different. They're going to be repeating the same format from last year. It's 2 nights.
From last year.
So if it was just one night,
2 main events,
then maybe I probably will be more bought into the Brock or Rock scenario. But since it's 2 nights, I think I'm gonna go with the Daniel Bryan and the Tribal Chief, and I believe that Tribal Chief is more than enough that he can already put people in the seats. And then Daniel Bryan, with the story that they're going to be telling, the underdog role, and sometimes predictability is still good for wrestling. Like, yeah, I already know he's going to win, but the story, we don't know how that story is. We know the ending, but what's the beginning, what's the middle, though? That might be a good story to tell.
Yeah, I would like to see it. I would like to see it, but I just don't know. Does Vince go that Daniel Bryan underdog, champion at the end of Mania again? I don't think that's going to happen. I don't see the payoff if Roman beats him. It's kind of flat for me. But I would like to see it. I love Daniel Bryan.
Who did you officially pick? Was it Brock that you said you think he's going to be the one to win the Rumble?
I mean,
that he's going to make the.
Again, you guys are swaying me with this Daniel Bryan thing, but maybe going towards Drew, but I guess not, because they're not even talking about that. They're talking about him with Roman. But I'm going to go out on a limb, just like I did with the women's with Trish. I'm going to go Brock.
I think both of them, as far as, going on a limb, those are great picks, because I would love to see, again, Trish versus Sasha, and then, seeing Brock win it and go against Roman. Holy shit. Like, that right there with because that's the unsaid thing, the unspoken thing right now with Paul Heyman being with Roman Reigns is, what the hell's going to happen when Brock Lesnar shows back up? And Paul, who are you going to choose? Right. Because you love your Tribal Chief, but that's Brock Lesnar, the guy who you won't let anybody else introduce him but you. Like, come on now, who are you going to... I want to see that. I really want to see that.
That should just tell you who Paul Heyman would choose, because even when he was aligned, when he was the advocate for Brock, Paul Heyman had a voice. When he's the councilman for the Tribal Chief, he doesn't have a voice. You know what I'm saying? He speaks for the tribal.
Yeah, but
that just shows me that he's scared. He's scared of the Tribal Chief. Like, yeah, he's cool. That's his best bud, his pal, and that's the reason why that. Brock, it would be perfect for Brock to be the face, but in the end, I think Paul Heyman's still going to choose the Tribal Chief.
But so yeah, I
thought you were going
the other way too. Yeah, I agree. Heyman's got to stay heel, got to stay with Roman. And you got to make Brock the face. That's the only way that storyline works. You can't have Heyman go with Brock and Brock be the face, because then there's no reason to battle Roman. He's battling Roman because of what Heyman's doing and choosing Roman over him. That's the storyline. And again, 100%. I'm fantasy booking. This is what I want to see. I know none of this is going to happen. I hope it does. But like we said before, we booked Mania and we hate it.
We're gonna get Sami Zayn winning the Royal Rumble.
Exactly.
This something random happens. Like, wait a minute, what? Otis wins the Royal Rumble, guys.
Listen. I bet he has a better chance than my picks.
Right, he's gonna be Final Four. Otis and Sami Zayn in there with who, God knows who. Oh man. But yeah, I mean, so we've gone through it all. It looks like Daniel Bryan, Brock Lesnar is the pick as far as the men's Royal Rumble. We've got a lot of different options for the women in terms of having Alexa Bliss, potentially Trish Stratus return, or Bianca Belair, one of those two from Joey, and then myself with Rhea Ripley. So yeah, I think, and again, we can all agree that the Rumble, it's a fun show where anything can happen, and we can make these predictions, but literally anything can happen.
Any other surprises you guys are thinking about? Anyone else you can think of, whether it's from another company or someone we haven't seen? What's his name from ROH? Marty Scurll? Anyone with?
I don't
anyone
see that.
Nobody you thinking?
Yeah. Well, okay, so Taya Valkyrie just recently kind of is done with Impact, sort of. And she's married to John Morrison.
Right.
So it's possible she could show up, and be in the Rumble and just be someone who is like, wait, like Royal Rumble's not really for the hardcore fans necessarily, but I don't know. That's one that when I saw that happen, I was like, ooh. Even Tommy Dreamer was like, well, because they were asking Tommy Dreamer, what do you think's going to happen to her? It's like, well, if she's lucky, she ends up in Jacksonville, which, of course, AEW, but if she's not so lucky, she'll end up in Stamford and maybe get 2 years with an option for 3. I said, oh, Tommy Dreamer, that was good. That was good.
What about any way we see any kind of Undisputed Era, anything like that happening?
No.
Oh, man.
I don't see that.
You know what though? Adam Cole, I'm getting a vibe that Adam Cole, it's like, what are we doing with Adam Cole on NXT? Because he's going for the Dusty Cup, he's in the tag team, fiddle. But it seems like he's second fiddle, and if he's not going to turn on Kyle, then he needs to find his own way, another way, and him showing up at the Rumble, even if it's not permanent, but for him to just show up, and be a surprise entrant in the Rumble, I think would be huge. So I would love to see Adam Cole in there. Gosh, there's so many names now. If we start going to NXT, like, imagine a Karrion Kross entrance at the Royal Rumble. How crazy would that be? Man, it's just, we're really opening up Pandora's box here with a lot of this, but it's almost anybody from NXT showing up. It'll
be fun, right?
Me.
I don't think anyone will win from NXT, but they gotta sprinkle a couple people just to give them the rub of being in the Rumble,
Damian Priest,
being in with some legends. Damian Priest. I think you'll see a couple of these guys and girls in the Rumble.
Yeah.
You think the Fiend will show up?
Totally. Oh, yeah, we haven't really talked about that at all. I think that there will be some kind of interference. That'll be the reason why Randy Orton doesn't win, is because of the Fiend. Like, he's not gonna win if he wins the Rumble, I'm gonna be actually really upset.
No way.
But
God, no, please, no.
Yeah, I don't see that. I don't see that. And look, I love Randy Orton. I love me some Randy Orton, but I don't want to see him win this Rumble because I don't like the way the story is going. And no, let's not do that. But yeah, I think the Fiend will make an appearance. I don't think the Fiend will be in the match, and I don't want the Fiend in the match necessarily, but just kind of like mess with the lights, toss Randy out, and then you're gone, and that's it. Like, okay, and then you can set that up for Mania.
Agreed.
They'll have their rematch and, just do that cinematic match
Of course.
with Randy Orton if you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, the whole John Cena, this is your life, do that with Randy Orton, get in his mind. Okay, let's do that. But, yeah, I could see The Fiend. I could see The Fiend in that way. Yeah, I mean, it's up in the air. It's up in the air. There's a lot of options out there. I'm trying to think of classic.
Either way,
wrestlers
to me, the
who could show
Rumble
up.
has always been about a surprise entrance. When you get a Rumble there's not one guy that you go, whoa. To me, I don't care who wins, it's a failure. That's what we're waiting on. That's why it's not just a regular battle royal. It's the countdown. Who's coming out? Who's coming out? Oh, it's Cesaro. Oh, you know what I mean? You got to throw a couple sprinkles of surprises in there to wet our beaks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting to think about like what they could do. Yeah, because I'm thinking like, what's that surprise that would really get us? Because even though Edge, like I was surprised, but there was kind of there was rumors that maybe something was happening. And so, when it finally happened, I was still like, holy shit, oh my God. And AJ Styles, when he showed up, that one blew my mind. I had no idea. And I never thought in a million years we would ever see AJ Styles in WWE. So to see that, I just was like, okay, you guys got me. Great job. I'm here for it.
What about Big Show? What do you think?
No, especially not how Randy Orton just did him. Randy Orton just basically, I mean, you know what? Maybe that's a reason why he gets in there is to get, some dignity back because Randy Orton punked him, punked Mark Henry. So maybe those guys show up and
what's AJ's bodyguard's name again?
Omos?
Omos? Omos is how they're
you think
pronouncing
he's
it?
going to be in?
That would be interesting.
I could see that
because now AJ and him would have to interact, and maybe he's helping AJ for the most part. But then it's like, hey, every man for himself. Sorry, man, I got a family too. I'm trying to come up in the world. So yeah, I could see that happening. Gosh, there's. I feel like we're gonna get an R-Truth sighting, even though he got beat by AJ. I think R-Truth is gonna show up. Yeah, I think he'll be there. Ricochet, Drew Gulak, I think all those guys will be there. But yeah, man, big names. I think, when you brought up NXT, like Karrion Kross making an entrance there would be just unbelievable. Like that would be crazy to see that happen. Be like, wait a minute, is Vince already on him and Hitman Scarlet and he's already there? Like, wow. Just that would be crazy. So, yeah, but I think Damian Priest, that's a good one, Devin. I think that one's almost guaranteed because he hasn't been on television for a while. Like, it would just make sense for him to just say, okay, he's going to
not
either
since
Raw
that
or
Karrion
SmackDown
Kross
now, he'll be there.
match he had. He's been,
that was it.
off television.
Yep. He's been gone. Yep. So, yeah, we'll see. I think if they do put, like, I don't know, Christian shows up in the Rumble, I think that would be kind of interesting. Him and Edge interacting in the matchup. Yeah. That would be cool. Marty Scurll, when you said that, I was like, ooh, man, I just, that's one that it would get me because I don't believe that's going to happen at all. If he showed up, how the hell did you guys do that and
keep it quiet, too?
And steal him away from AEW and keep it quiet and nobody knows how? How, Sway? So, yeah, man. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's one of my favorite pay-per-views of all of them. My favorite one is still, Money in the Bank when we had that in Chicago. Those pay-per-views were always like, oh, man, it's right in our backyard. So love that one. That's my favorite. After that, I would say, Royal Rumble, I think is right there. Because of what you're saying, those surprises, that countdown, and who's going to show up. And so I'm there with this show. I can't wait. Sunday is going to be. It's going to be a fun day.
I wasn't looking forward to it that much, but now I actually am.
Especially when Kevin Owens wins the WWE Championship.
Right, man.
Oh, man. What a day. What a day.
He's going to be wearing a championship if you buy him one and send him one.
I got you, KO. I got you. It's in the mail. Oh man, Joey, it's been so much fun. Going over this with you, doing the Royal Rumble recap, talking with you about what you got going on. And we got to have you on again. You're such a pleasure to talk to, and just thank you again for honoring us with your time and just having a good time with us, man.
Guys, thanks for having me again. I love you guys. So much fun. You get me, as much as I hate wrestling sometimes, you guys kind of actually get me rejuvenated and want to watch again. There's so many times I just have, Raw and SmackDown on fast forward. I watch both of them in about 15 minutes. So you guys make me want to stop stuff and want to watch again. So I thank you for that, number one. And also, of course, thanks for always having me on. It's always a great conversation.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure. It's an honor. And I don't know if you know, too, this is our season finale episode as well. So this is a very special episode. Doing some drastic changes for season 3. So you'll see when we invite you over next time as well.
Yes. All right. Give me a little hint. What do we got going on?
Well,
come on.
Well, I'll say, you know what? All right. I'll say this. All right, we're changing up the logo. The logo is different. I can't. You know what? When we're done, I'll give you. I'll show it to you. I can't. Yes. I'm not going to show it here. I don't want to show it to the listeners or the viewers. But I'll give you a sneak preview, though.
Awesome. I appreciate it. I'll take it.
Oh man, and definitely too for season 3, there's more of a commitment overall with the video portion. Going to YouTube. That's a big thing for us. So definitely excited to get into that game, and just taking it up a notch. More interviews. More just overall content, getting creative with it. We got a couple ideas around just new topics that we can represent as well. Things that we feel like, not everybody is talking about certain aspects of wrestling, certain pieces of content that's out there. So to kind of like branch out a little bit. And then, there's some other stuff that we've been talking about too that I don't want to get into quite yet, but we're more than just wrestling fans. There's other things that we're into as well. So you may or may not hear some more of that in some capacity, somewhere, in some platform. But more of that to come.
A lot of stuff in the works. We've been busy. There's been a reason why we've been so busy.
Vampire Diaries spinoff.
Oh man. Reactions.
Reactions.
For me, I would be the guinea pig for sure, because I haven't seen the episodes, full episodes and full seasons, so get some reactions out of me on Vampire Diaries. That could be.
You know what it is? I'm a sucker for a good love story too. Like if it's a good love story and it makes sense, the chemistry, you got me. And that's what happened to Vampire Diaries. That's what happened on the originals. I got to mention this too, but hell, whatever. I don't care what people think. I like Twilight movie too. The first one. I like the first Twilight.
Oh, no. You went too far.
I didn't go too far, damn it. I didn't go too far.
No.
I'm Devin the Hill dude,
Twilight,
man.
No.
I enjoy the first Twilight movie.
What did he say when his skin hit the sun? My skin doesn't burn, it sparkles. Is that what that man said for real? Vampires. No, no.
To me, it's the same old story. I actually like the first few Twilights too, and then it gets so ridiculous.
Yep, exactly. That's why I was like, no, I'm done.
Too much love story. Same with Vampire Diaries. Just too much sap. Enough. Come on.
Just emo vampire Bella. No.
The only love story I want to see is Macho Man and Elizabeth. That's all I care about.
Yes. That is a
Hogan
true
patting her ass and causing the mega powers to explode.
You got that look in your eye.
Oh man, fun times had on this episode for sure. We're gonna bring it to a close, but before we do, as always, Devin, tell the people where they can catch us.
But before I do that, formalities are let me pass it on to Joey. You have anything to plug, your book, your show, and all of that?
Well, as always, you can find Wrestling with Joey Licious on Amazon.com. You can stream all the episodes on Amazon.com. They're really short, fun episodes. If you like what you see, go stay on Amazon and type in Wrestling with Joey Licious, the book, and you can order the book. It's like $12, I think, on Amazon. It's a super fun read. You'll get a little taste of what the first season is about. Everything is on Amazon. Just type in Joey Cassata. You'll find, T-shirts, Wrestling with Joey Licious T-shirts and merchandise, and you could find clips of Wrestling with Joey Licious. If you don't have Amazon, there it is right there. You can go to my YouTube page, Joey Cassata. Just type in Wrestling with Joey Licious on YouTube. You'll find so much fun stuff.
Thank you. Awesome, yes, awesome. And yes, you can always find us on the various social platforms. It's YouTube, there's Facebook, the Facebook wrestling group too, called the Clark Street Wrestling Community, Instagram, Twitter, and we have a whole bunch of episodes on the various podcast apps as well. But there's only one website. It's only one true website, one stop and shop that you can go to access all that goodie. That is ClarkStreetWrestling.com. ST for short, for the abbreviation, ClarkStreetWrestling.com. We have over 170 episodes. Man, I can't believe that. Over 170 episodes for your listening pleasure. In season 3, here we go for full-fledged for YouTube. I can't wait. And thank you, Buddy Hafiz, for joining me on this lovely ride, man. One of the best the best tag team partners.
Well, thank you. I was like, what other tag team partners you got?
Well, my wife, my wife.
Over here with multiple tag team partners. What's going on? Oh, man. Did you mention TikTok?
I did not mention TikTok. See, I forgot to mention TikTok because, you know what, Joey? I don't get the hate from my daughters anymore. It ceased to exist. It is, man. I enjoy the hate. I love when people give me hate. It just gives me more motivation to prove them wrong. But,
You're a born heel.
Yes. Thank you. But, yes, you can always find us on TikTok as well, on the Clark Street Wrestling website. We have over 1,800, getting ready to cross that 1,900 followers as well. Over 100 videos we have posted as well. So thank you for all who's following. And once again, that's the ClarkStreetWrestling.com website.
Yes, absolutely. So with that said, that is going to do it for this Royal Rumble prediction show. For Joey Cassata, our esteemed guest, thank you so much. For Devin, I'm Hafiz. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
All right, guys, that's a wrap for season 2. We see you on the other side for the Clark Street Wrestling Podcast for season 3. Peace.
Woo!